$9,240,000,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Stacking my coin. Stacking my coin. Stacking my coin. Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin. Stacking my coin. Stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash.
Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and we got a new off-the-chain episode, special one for you, episode 74. Just going to kick it with some of the fellas down big today, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is not a surprise to me and shouldn't be to any of you watching Crypto Blood, CBTV. The analysis is there. We got Default giving you some market analysis with his MACD bearish convergence or whatever you call it. And, you know, my thesis has always been that the Federal Reserve, unfortunately, has trapped themselves into a corner. And look, they got to unwind the position. And this is what happened. Stocks were down over 3.5% today. You know, Bitcoin down big, Ethereum down big. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But we'll also be talking about Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. We talked about that over the last live stream, but it actually is going down now. So that's good news, in my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, rumors of MicroStrategy selling Bitcoin. Is this true? Michael Saylor came out and said, no, it's not, but some people don't think so. We'll look at some of the evidence or lack thereof on tonight's episode. Let's get it.
Fucking with the ops and get you clapped that. No cap, nigga, back. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin.
Also, we got to take a look at what New York is talking about. Weighing the options of banning Bitcoin mining. Bad move, in my opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. All that on tonight's episode of Off the Chain, episode 74. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Bitcoin, Litecoin.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live. Okay.
Yo, we doing it live, people. We doing it live. Welcome to another episode 74. Let's get into it. Shout out to my man 10 Pounds in the building. Got Voice Crypto in the building, one of our members. And also, I just thought about this, Trek. We got a special gift for the members of the channel. We'll be giving away these Arculus cold storage wallets. We just got to figure out how we're going to do this. It's going to be for members only, so make sure you do sign up. CBTV membership. We'll be doing that next week or maybe later this week. I don't know. Got to figure out how we're going to do it, Trek. I don't know. What's going on, Default? How's your MACD convergence, divergence, matrix?
I mean, you can see, you see my analysis has been very bearish. We did have some, bullish divergence on small time frames. It's played out, and it's just been lower highs over and over. So I just don't see anything that's too bullish right now. You got equities, getting slaughtered. So I don't see. Actually, on the 4-hour right now, there is some bullish divergence that's trying to form the MACD and RSI. If you could bounce here, and you could break that last, peak, the last high. Maybe that would be some optimism to get some higher prices, but man, I don't know. It looks terrible, honestly.
It's bad. Yeah,
the further
it's
you
bad.
look out, you look at the weekly, monthly, breaking 37, like 5 area, and I think it's pretty much a wrap for these markets.
We shouldn't be surprised, though. As I said in the intro, This is not something that anybody watching CBTV should be surprised or blindsided by, because my thesis has been consistent. Federal Reserve is the reason for all of these risk-on assets going to hell. They're going to go to hell in a handbasket with gasoline on top of it. Like, it is what it is. So preparing for that, I think you should have some dry powder on the side, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm not one of those channels that's just gonna play into, like you said on your on some of your videos, default, play into the narrative. We're not playing into the narrative on this channel. We're gonna give you the real, and you like it or not, we're gonna give you the real. My man Trek. So what you smoking this week, man? Because I saw you sent in the Telegram that you got some good ones that you about to fire up this week. Placencia. That's funny because that's exactly what I'm smoking right now. The Placencias. Have you had them before?
No, so I'm looking forward to it. But it'll probably end up being when I get down to Miami. Well, not Miami. I'll be in Florida in a couple of days, though. So. Damn, my bad.
Oh, you going to Florida to catch some more coronavirus, huh?
Nah, bro.
Yeah, I'm smoking this Placencia, the Year of the Tiger. This is a bad joker right here, ladies. And if you are cigar smokers out there, check this one out. I'm telling you, it's expensive, but it is well worth it. So definitely check out the Placencia Year of the Tiger. And I haven't had the ones that you were sharing in the Telegram room, the 159 and the I can't even read that.
Yeah,
what does that say?
Alma
Alma del Campo.
Something like that.
I'm new to Placencia, so I don't know how long they've been around. Or they seem like a boutique cigar line, but they're good. They're definitely good. So tonight we are going to be talking a little price talk, which goes above Trek's head, bald head. But Default and I will kind of give you some more of our analysis on the markets and where we're going. You know, I trade cryptos and also foreign exchange, and the FX market is going crazy right now. I'll pull up some of those charts for you just to give you some contextual understanding. The yen is losing so much value right now. It's just like a one-way trade to hell. That's just dropping like a rock, you know. So there's some implications with that happening, because if some of you may know, like the yen, and Default can chime in, the yen is a carry trade currency. So it's a lot of debt and like other derivatives around the, like globally, that is tied to the yen. The yen is like the third most traded currency. I don't know what's number two. Maybe the pound. I would assume the pound. But are you following any of the currency markets, Default?
I've been mostly, and I've been doing, on the analysis videos. I've been showing people the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and
right.
That's been my main focus as far as like people with their narratives. Everybody was talking about how, the Fed was printing so many dollars that we're going to have hyperinflation, and you had all this bearish news. But as I stated in the videos, like since January 2021, I've been bullish on the dollar. Had weekly bullish divergence on the RSI MACD, and it started to play out, and you made like a double bottom on like a daily, and it's been bullish since the beginning of 2021. So I mean, right now is at like a critical juncture. Like if you break like I believe it's like 102.5, the dollar could be hitting 120, and if that plays out, crypto, stock market, anything where it's going, even gold and silver, probably going to see a tremendous haircut. That's what I've been focused on mostly right now, because it just looking at the market and just everything that's happening with the Fed's policy. I would expect the dollar to gain value, and it is. But that's just
yep. So do you follow Brent? What's my man name? Brent, the milkshake theory, dollar milkshake.
No, I do not.
I know what you're talking about.
You Mr. No Price Man knows who Brent. Okay.
It don't mean that I can't listen to smarter people, bro. I can listen to the smart people too.
Oh man, you're right. No doubt. Yep, no doubt. So that's his whole thesis, is that the dollar is gonna like just bubble up.
It looks like it. there's definitely a technical case for that to happen. So it doesn't shock me. I've kind of been, like I said, I've been following the dollar. You know, if you're in crypto, you gotta follow these markets. You gotta follow the you know these these currency pairs, because it's going to tell you whether or not your trend, whether bullish or bearish, is going to continue. And so I see like it's consolidating after impulse up for the last I believe it's the last 7 or 8 years. Like this has been a long drawn out like consolidation. So if you break that trend line, it's gonna, yeah. I mean and there's probably gonna be some terrible news within the economy.
Yeah.
That's gonna.
What else? What people also need to follow? I mean, if they, currencies, following currencies is a pretty advanced suggestion, right? If they're not traders, you still should keep your eye on at least the stock market, right? The Nasdaq is highly I should say Bitcoin is highly correlated with the Nasdaq. It's about 7.78, almost 8. 80% correlation with Bitcoin, the crypto markets. So you need to pay attention to that. It's not going to follow it 1-to-1, but it's going to be highly correlated 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, honestly, to be exact. 8 times out of 10, if the Nasdaq is down, Bitcoin is down. If Nasdaq is up, Bitcoin is up. So that's a barometer if you just want to just get a feel for where things are or where we're going. Watch the stock market because these things are highly correlated thanks to the Federal Reserve. That is a fact. So I do want to just quickly show this chart before we get into the news tonight about Elon, about MicroStrategy's rumors of selling. This is what I have here. We're back in that channel, ladies and gentlemen, from way back in May of 2021. That channel, we're back in it. And it looks like we're heading lower. That little hump that we had earlier today was real bearish to me. I saw that we traversed all of that and actually went lower. So we traversed it and went lower. That's not too good of a signal to me. Now we could come back up here to this area and bounce off of here and head lower. But yes, it's looking lower for me, ladies and gentlemen. So get some dry powder on the sideline so you can take advantage and buy dollar cost average in lower. Though I think we had to I'm still holding to that 20k, man. I know you said 30k is the next area that you're watching default. I mean, yeah, it is for me as well, but I'm just kind of looking a little higher, and that 20k is where I'm really looking to buy in,
Yeah, my ultimate target is like between 12 to 14k. It's not even, at 30. I just
wait.
Yeah.
12 to 14 to 14,000.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Do you know how?
Listen, bruh, like I'm not a price dude.
Oh God!
I've been fitting some rules, and I've heard a number of people throw out that 20 range number. But I ain't hear nobody say 12, bruh.
I've been saying 12 to 14k. I mean, honestly,
Trek, I've heard 7k. I've heard 7k.
Honestly, I could see under 10.
Yo, if that man, listen.
Most people
what is Michael Saylor's Twitter profile picture look like at $7,000 Bitcoin?
Oh, he sold. He's probably the catalyst of the reason why we're at that.
He will be, and we're going to get into that. That's a great point. I feel the same way. We'll get into that. Pause that thought. But yeah, I mean, so the first article we will look at is, let's just go ahead and talk about this whole rumor that Michael Saylor, or I should say MicroStrategy, has been selling Bitcoin. Now, this article, y'all want to comment on this? I mean, because the article kind of says it's some bull. The guy that put this out, Oz, CEO of Alt Season, pretty much didn't know what he was talking about. But then that brought up another point for me in the fact that, because MicroStrategy is a publicly traded company, they do have to file if they make any changes to their balance sheet in regards to crypto or anything. But the thing is, I wondered how could MicroStrategies hedge themselves without having to let the SEC know? Could they just go out and play the opposite without letting them know? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And will they be selling if we do go to a $7,000 Bitcoin or 12,000 or even 20,000 average price? We talked about over the weekend, the last live stream. Average price they MicroStrategy got in is at $32,000 Bitcoin.
I believe it's 33.
33,000.
Yeah, 33 like 100, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. The last article I read about I call it the sailor line, because
yeah, the sailor line. I like that.
Yeah, to me, breaking below that is a catalyst to sell. Like,
because he's in a leveraged position.
It's debt based. Ever since I heard that this entity was buying Bitcoin on with that, I've been a mental note like that's extremely bearish. If you break that price even mark, because it puts a lot of sell pressure. It puts a lot of pressure for that entity to sell.
And everyone knows that's that price. So exactly. Guess what's going to happen? As we get closer to the price, people are going to sell ahead of MicroStrategy. So it's going to accelerate it even further. Yeah, this can be a big problem, man. This could be a really big problem when everyone knows the biggest proponent of. And again, this doesn't mean Bitcoin is going away or it's a bad thing to hold or anything like that. We're just talking from a more technical standpoint,
and fundamental,
guys. And fundamental. This is more fundamental, correct?
Because you have a large holder of Bitcoin that has been the catalyst of this run. They've been the biggest buyer, and what's funny is every time they have bought, the price has sold off. Like you can look at their announcements of we bought another 200 million Bitcoin, and the price has just sold in when it hit 48K after we broke that symmetric triangle, and we hit the top of the trend line of the bear, what looks like the bear flag now. They made an announcement that they bought more Bitcoin, and it literally sold. It hasn't reached that high since. So they are the market driver of this market, and their break-even price is only a few $1,000s away. So to me, it's not a bullish thing. I never thought it was a bullish thing, because if you look at Michael Saylor's history, when he first announced that they were buying all this Bitcoin and this was their strategy, I look back, in the history of Michael Saylor.
Nigga has run companies into the ground before.
They were the worst performer in the dot-com bubble.
Yeah.
And so they lost, I think it was $13 billion or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah.
So somebody with that type of track record, I'm sorry, you already proved.
It sounds top-ish, right? It sounds very top-ish when you have a guy like Michael Saylor come out of nowhere. Trek, we've been in the game for how long? 8-9 years. This guy comes in 2 days ago, and now he's on Lex Fridman for 5 hours talking about Bitcoin and all this and all that. I'm just like, what are your thoughts about? First, I want to ask you, what's your thoughts about Michael Saylor?
Me?
Yeah, Trek. Yep.
Okay, so I definitely ain't do none of the deep diving stuff that X amount of other folks have done online or whatever for knowing him. I'm generally just leery against the whole, let's listen and follow to this person because either they have a fancy title or a big wallet size or quote access to money. Because in my mind, their operational environment and their invested interest is not the same thing as mine. So for me, I get how it works in the narrative of quote mass adoption, right? But I also see the chinks in the armor, at least for how I'm looking at this stuff and how I'm looking to push forward. he's in a different. It's the same thing like with Elon or what's the other one? I can't remember the other dude name, but like they're in a whole different level of operational environment than majority of the folks who are in the space right now. And even though we're not even like what 10%, 5% of the global population for people who are actually involved in the space, they're still in a whole different arena compared to the average person. So, you know,
So at Bitcoin 2022, Trek and I were down there. I don't think he went to the conference though.
I
He
was around,
being
bro.
you were around. Michael Saylor was telling, and Kathy Woods as well, was
Hmm.
telling everyone, don't sell your Bitcoin. That's
I
see.
bet.
Here's my issue. If you and I believe in the technology Bitcoin, right? But I would never tell someone not to sell anything, because then what you're doing is just feeding into uh the whole Ponzi. Almost it's like a Ponzi scheme. Like you need more people to buy or hold, and wait for more people to come in to buy at a higher price to
You
keep
need
the
more
thing going.
suckers.
You
You
need
need
more
more suckers.
suckers.
And
That's when
honestly,
I hear that, that's what I think of, Trek. Not any fundamental reasons why Bitcoin you should hold it is a hedge against inflation. We know all that fundamentally, but what do you think about when you hear headlines like that? Don't sell your Bitcoin.
So I think that when it comes out of the mouths of people like Kathy Woods and Michael Saylor or Elon Musk or um, even Jack Dorsey, they're in a whole separate, different level of conversation than the regular average person. And so when they say stuff, they know that for the position they sit in, it has influence in the market. It's like when Jamie Dimon used to say shit back in 2018 and 19. Like
mm,
he knew that in regards to traditional markets, it would scare out or FUD out X amount of, the traditional hedge fund, family trust. Like it would keep those people at bay for a bit. And I think that people, again, like Kathy Wood and them, they in the same position. But the irony of it is they just got here. They're doing it in a way that, like, the way that they're operating isn't the way that me and you operate in, like, all right, let's do this with the wallet. Oh, like we jump around on the different blockchains and stuff. They're not even doing the stuff like that. So if we say something and we got hands-on experience in this thing for years, it just it don't even make it up to the person's ear because we're not coming with the same clout behind us. Like,
Right,
even
right.
if you actually know shit, we just need you to have the clout, and then when you say stuff, influence the market. So
I want to highlight something default here that Hank Golowitz said. Michael Saylor literally says never sell. Now I think that may bite him in his ass and actually accelerate again, like we talked about that Sailor line. If we cross it, and because MicroStrategy is hedged in Bitcoin, I'm not hedged, but leveraged in their position in Bitcoin, they will have to sell at some point. You'll have a margin call, or they can go out. I don't know what financial trickery they can do, but if at any point they do have to sell, it's gonna seem worse than if he would had never said these never sell comments.
well,
so go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Drew.
I
Trey.
just
No, go ahead,
yeah. Go
Default.
ahead, Trey, go ahead.
All right. So what is it? Go Panama said that he says all of that without mentioning that he's not a financial advisor, which he's not, which is irresponsible, as hell. So now it's funny, like all of us, we do that at our level, right? But like when people in that level of clout and in those circles and in that type of operational environment, they get to say X amount of stuff and no one bats an eye because they have the quote bank or the clout. And it's just like, all right, it is what it is. I get it. Um, but at the same time, like for the point that you're making about if the conditions came up to where they had to sell, honestly, I'm more curious as to how would they market this shit to them? Like, how would they market it out?
Right. How do you spin that?
Like,
How do you spin that?
it
There
like
won't be no need.
say it again.
There won't be any need because I don't think they'll be around.
Yeah, no, I'm with them. I'm
They
with
won't be
them, bro.
Listen, listen. If I remember correctly, because like I said, I looked into a lot of this stuff. I did my due diligence when this was first announced. I think this was December 2020 or January 2021 when he first announced they were buying Bitcoin with debt. Because as soon as they said it, I was skeptical.
Yeah, I was shaking my head. I said, "Damn, that's the wrong move." Buying Bitcoin, cool. I'm good with
Yeah.
that. You got Bitcoin in balance sheet,
Because
cool.
it doesn't matter about the price.
It
Because
not really at all. Not really. It does, but it
does,
doesn't.
but it doesn't.
Right,
But when you put when you put the debt behind it, now you have creditors. You have to pay. You got to service that debt.
You have to
And
service
so
the debt.
The way they service the debt is the people that are issuing the debt, they can convert their debt into shares of MicroStrategy. And that's why I'm saying they won't be around. There won't be no need to market it like to spin it because odds are their debtors are going to, convert their debt into shares and sell their, to get their money back or to get their loss.
Like a pseudo bankruptcy type of situation,
Exactly.
basically, right?
Exactly. So to me, this has been a setup for, a very violent move to the downside.
Yeah.
It's just everything is set up for it. It's a vulnerability within Bitcoin's price, and I never saw it as a bullish thing. The only way it would be bullish if other institutions followed their lead, not so much with buying with debt, but just
It's a
buying
doggy.
Bitcoin.
It's a dog world. So I think other institutions are on the sidelines waiting for his liquidation, capitulation moment. Then they'll come in and buy the real bottom.
And that might be where I'm seeing the prices, to what, a 14K. It sounds
Okay.
to me, looking at the setup right now, technically, it looks like we have a double top. It looks like we have you have a catalyst. You have this big buyer that's like, what's Bitcoin right now? Like 38,000? You're talking about $5,000.
That can happen tomorrow.
That's
In 2 days or this week
like
or whatever.
12-13%.
Yeah, it can happen this week. Wow. So Go Panama says the market doesn't have enough liquidity to for him to sell out completely. What are your thoughts about that, Default?
They don't. They have over 5 billion.
I got that.
Yeah, over 5 billion. Who's going to buy 5 billion worth of Bitcoin at these prices at once? There's not enough liquidity.
Here's my thing. I look at it from, again, I'm more of a macro analysis in this space, and I mean I do technical now, do that, but I trade my algo, so I just let that run and do its thing. So I don't really have to do the technical stuff much anymore. But from a macro standpoint, I just sit back and ask myself, what positive, I weigh the pros and cons, or what positive things can happen, headlines can come through on Bitcoin that will make it go back to 69,000. And then I say, what negative things do we see coming ahead that will make it head lower? And the negative points outweigh it by a long shot. Like, I don't see any catalyst to take us and spin us around and take us back to 100,000.
You need more buyers. You need a lot more buyers for this price to keep accelerating. And there's just, I mean, you got higher interest rates now.
Wait.
So
hold on. Question.
Go ahead.
All right, you got to work with the person who don't talk price. Is it more buyers, or do you need more cash to come into the system?
That is more buyers.
It's more buyers.
No. It's not more buyers because, all right, example of if 100 people come in, right, with, let's say, 100 people come in with $1 a piece, that's $100, right? But if 20 people come in with 100,000 a piece, I have a smaller number of people, but I have more money coming in. You get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but when
that's
I'm saying
just semantics.
Buyers, yeah,
No,
What I'm saying, more buyers. You need more dollars going into Bitcoin than going out.
okay,
That's
all
any
right, all
market.
right. Gotcha.
So we're talking about the same thing, but it's just you're looking at more individually by the numbers. I'm looking at it's liquidity, and my like to see like the crypto buzz point, like who's going to be that person that comes in with all that capital to pump this price? And I
Yeah,
think that
like the only thing I can think, literally, I sat and thought about this. The only thing I could think of would be like some sovereign, some nation coming in and buying it because they needed it. But then I think like we saw Russia, well, the oligarchs flee to Bitcoin. That gave it a bump. But then they just bought Bitcoin to exit. So it was a buy then sell. That's why we saw it go up and come down. You get what I'm saying? It
yeah,
wasn't like a buy and hold because Bitcoin is too volatile. They're just trying to, it's a flight of capital. They're just trying to get their capital out of Russia. So that's why we saw the buy up. And then once they got their Bitcoin, they sold the Bitcoin into dollars. So I can't see, I just don't see it, bro. I don't see it.
there's nothing fundamentally and technically it looks like I said, the more you scroll out, the worse it looks to me. My personal view. It looks terrible. And so I don't and then you look at what the Fed is doing. They're taking 95 billion dollars out of the
A
out of
month, right?
out of the capital markets per month.
Per
So
month.
so that's almost a trillion in a year. And their balance sheet I think hit 9 trillion. So if they just run that policy for 3-4 years, you're talking about close to three
Okay,
or four
so
trillion.
here's my okay. So to your point, the other way we see Bitcoin head higher, and it 100% will, along with stocks, is when the Federal Reserve capitulates and they say they can't take the pain anymore from raising interest rates. They're gonna stop. They're gonna pause or reverse. That's it. When that happens, we're off to the races.
The point I made in my last market analysis video, it was actually your interview with Reggie
Reggie.
Milligan,
Mm-hmm.
and he made a great point that it's not the Fed that's having interest rates rise, it's the market itself, and they're just following the market and
Yeah,
making it seem like
he
they're
made
making that
he made
policy.
a very good point there. Yeah,
So
definitely.
to
I didn't
me,
even think of it that way.
yeah, to me, from that point, I mean, it doesn't really matter what the Fed is saying. If the market wants a higher rate to service debt, those rates are just going to keep accelerating. And so, to me, right now, it's a very vulnerable market, and that's why I'm very bearish right now as far as like any risk on asset.
Hey,
It's
I know this is a crypto channel, kind of, sort of, for the most part. But ladies and gentlemen, as a trader, I'm gonna let you know, cash is still king, and it will be in a crisis. You have to understand that. Now, again, I always have to reiterate, after the crash, yes, Bitcoin is just gonna go ham on them. It's gonna be the best performing asset ever. But it's all about timing. You don't want to time it wrong. You don't want to be that person that bought Bitcoin at 20,000 in the last cycle, and it
you don't
went
want
to
to buy
3,000, and it went to 3,000, and you're a newbie trader, so you bought at 20 and sold at 3. So you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person. Let's move on to Elon, man. This is big news. I mean, I just can't believe it, man. I feel like we live in a simulation, and Elon Musk thinks we live in a simulation as well. So maybe he is the simulation creator or something. I don't know, but he ended up mustering up the money. He got a couple of banks and some other investment firms to.
Not even his money, dog. It's
Of
not
course,
even his money.
of course not. Of course, you didn't know, Trek. You didn't know rich people use other people's money, never their own. So we have Elon buying Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. I mean,
Technically speaking, the ink has not dried on the paper yet. Technically speaking,
but the board members said they accepted the offer.
it's a done deal.
It's a done deal. It's a
And
done deal.
We'll see.
What's your take on this, Trek? What implications does this have? We're on crypto Twitter.
A
We're
lot.
very active. You're more active than I am even. What does this mean for us as Twitter users, man? I think this is great, but what's your take?
I feel like there's a lot of hype around it. Like it's a shit ton of hype on the end of. It's one thing to be like, oh, I'm gonna go take over the company and then run it the way that I do X amount of my other things, right? Um, but like, how many of the key, like, and I heard somebody else bring this up, and I think it was a valid point of how many of the key people who really make the company as it is now, like, run. How many of them are going to be cool with him just coming in and be like, all right, I want this, and this to happen? And
Well, as a private company, you no longer. Well, you do still have a board as a private
right, but like,
company.
and I've heard from other people, like he literally is that kind of person of like, oh, that you got that idea? All right, well, what do you need? Oh, that's it. All right, phone call. Hey, call such and such. Make sure that happens in 24 hours, and like he pushes on to the next thing. Now, is the work culture there going to be ready for that style? Not to mention, they're already making it sound like he's about to be like the super like internet Nazi on the political view and spectrum of stuff, and it's just like yeah, but yeah, there's so much like it could be like this being thrown out, but we're not gonna know until like we get a month or two down the road. Honestly, like
Will censorship loosen up? He's a big proponent of free speech. So am I. Is that
yeah,
something that you think will come down the pipe?
he talking a good game now. I want to see what it looked like a month or two down the road, bro. He
Ironically
talking a
enough,
good game.
Richard Hart got a blue check right after the announcement. He's crediting Elon Musk.
Man, listen, Richard Hart is an opportunist in regards to that. Like, you want to be trending right now in the viral state? Like, come on, just throw that in there. Like, oh look, I got
So you
another.
think it was just a coincidence that he got his blue
It was
check
just a
right after?
coincidence. Bro, like I haven't done the process, but I've heard of how other people have gone through it. Depending on what level and popularity stage you at, it ain't just like a 24-hour turn, like 10-minute turnaround. Like Richard Hart of all people, and he's a smart dude. Don't get me wrong, he's a smart
Oh,
dude.
he's very smart.
It's just I also call him the silver-tongued devil. Like, so
What the hell does that mean? Silver
basic.
tongued devil? I ain't
Yes,
never heard that one.
he
That
good
must
with
be
the
a B
gift of
more.
gab. He good with the gift of gab.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
He good with the gift of gab, and he was smart with it as far as like the algo is going. Oh, let me take advantage and throw that out there, make that little. All right. Oh, I got my blue check because Elon's here now. Again, technically, he doesn't own the company yet. So like, what are we really? You know what I'm saying? Like, we
True.
just doing a lot
True.
of shit
That's
right now.
true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. What's your take on it, Default? You think some real changes are coming down?
Um, I I mean, I guess. Y'all already know I don't like Elon. I don't like his cult following more so than him the person. Um, I think it's a great opportunity for him. He controls really the public discourse. But as far as censorship and stuff like that, we'll see. That's we'll see if that changes. That might be a good thing or it could be bad. I don't know because the thing about if you open up that type of having uncensored type of conversations, they're going to get tons of lawsuits for people basically suing them, saying that you're allowing people to harass me and stuff like that. Um, but honestly, I until I start to see the changes or start to see the plan more, um, I really just at this point I really just don't care. I just like personally I just don't care at this point. Let's see what
Now
happens.
you're on Twitter, pretty active. So this
Yeah.
is a platform you use. Another thing that's being floated around is that they're going to create an edit button so users can change their tweets. Now I don't think this is a
That's
good one.
trash. That's
I
trash.
don't think. Go ahead, Trek.
All right, I'm gonna say yes and no on it. Like, if you do an edit button and then at least you have like, hey, this was edited, okay, but that's gonna be a whole new level of double speak, and I didn't say blah blah blah, and but you also know like the real like sleuthy, internet folks, they screenshot everything. Wayback Machine is like a shortcut key on their keyboard. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So like it would be a dope feature because like I used it a lot on LinkedIn just for like typing faster than I was or thinking faster than I was typing, and then I look at the thing later and I'm like, oh wow, I missed a word or I missed this spelling, like you know what I'm saying. So in that regards, yeah, but I don't know. I I think the folks who are used to like figuring out how to game the system, that feature for those type of folks is going to definitely be a pro for them, but like a negative for others.
Now I'm seeing Voice Crypto, and I saw this as well. Tucker Carlson is back on Twitter. So I mean, is that a coincidence as well? Right when this announcement happens, Tucker is back on.
I didn't even know that one.
I saw that earlier. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get those. Those people that got banned. Will Alex Jones?
Well,
be back?
the big question is, my man Orange Man, Trizump. He said he wouldn't come back on though, even if Elon did purchase. He has his own platform called, what is it called? Truther or something? I haven't been on it. Ain't nobody on
That's
there.
another example.
Ain't
Like
nobody
he
on
ain't
there.
done none of that. That's a whole set of back end money. Like I don't know, man. Like it's basically rich people just borrowing money to go look like something in the public and
Cheap money, yeah. They're borrowing cheap money, basically almost damn near free money to do stuff like this. Scrap advertisements, and a big unknown is reinstate Donald Trump. Yeah,
I seen a tweet actually earlier. I think it had to do something with the financing of this deal. I don't know if it's true or not. It's something I have to look into. But they were stating that Elon used some of his shares
yes,
to
as collateral.
As collateral. I think
Yes.
Elon's line is 575 or something like that. He would get margin called. I have to look into it more.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they're saying there's a line around like 550 or 575 or something like that.
Interesting.
He would have to basically pay all that debt. So that's if you're holding Tesla stock or something like that. I don't know how true that is.
Oh yes.
Tesla,
and if we're heading lower, which I think we are, I think Tesla's one of the most overvalued. Tesla's like WorldCom back in 2020. What's the other company, man? The commodities company that went under.
Enron? What was it? Enron?
Enron.
Yeah.
Tesla is Enron.
I won't say
it's a house of cards, man.
But it's pretty terrible.
It's up there.
Yeah.
It's at least WorldCom.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Oh man, so that's going to be interesting how this all unfolds, man. Because as the risk on assets start pulling back, you're gonna have margin calls over here, margin calls over there. It's gonna be ugly.
So a lot of these big, these people that have a lot of capital, a lot of their capital is based off of their, stocks. What their
That's
intangible assets. And so
That's
when
true.
they start to get devalued, we're going to start to see the reality. You're not going to see these deals. I think Twitter is bored. Right? Anybody that was holding a lot of Twitter stock, they made out because.
Yeah.
For them,
they
this
definitely
was a
made
great
out.
deal. And I think I thought they were.
That's why they took it.
Yeah, I thought they were done passing on the first time because
They were.
I don't
They
see
most
Twitter, if it was trading publicly, I didn't see Twitter, getting to those prices for
not
yeah,
again. Yeah, right.
for
So
decades.
speaking of Twitter employees, let's take a look at this video, ladies and gents, from Project Veritas. He's got some insider leaked audio from people inside Twitter in an all hands meeting that was leaked to Project Veritas about Elon acquisition. Let's take a look at this real quick.
I'm dealing with a mass exodus, considering the acquisition is by a person with questionable ethics.
The question of attrition, as Parag stated, one of the themes of today is continuity and ensuring that Parag and this leadership team continues to operate the business successfully on behalf of our users, on behalf of our customers. And that has obviously been a big topic of discussion at the board. And as I mentioned, an area that is important to Elon Musk as well, because of the importance of Twitter as a service.
With no board in place, who will keep Elon accountable and how? Elon made it clear in public that a large part of the reason he bought the platform was because of our moderation policies and disagreements in how we deal with health. This puts Twitter service and trust and safety, as well as anybody who cares about health on the platform, in a very difficult position.
Twitter service, the role of our policies, and the capabilities we've built around content moderation are fundamental.
Wait, so it sounds like there isn't going to be a board after it goes private.
First, so one, they all friggin' virtue signaling. Like, they're doing it from this altruistic, we have put in policies and we do things that are meant to protect and help the people.
Please.
And it's like, oh, this is all good. Like, it can never be wrong.
Yeah.
No, dog. Like, screw all of that signaling talk crap. Like, I'm not feeling it. And so I forgot what I was looking at, but they brought that up too about like, hey, when he gets in, there's not going to be a board. Again, there's going to be something. Like, he's not going to be sitting in the office every day, bro. Like, no, he's not going to be doing that. So
so here's the thing. Him purchasing it doesn't mean he's a CEO either, right? That has to be understood, So I don't know, man. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, like I said, it's something you got to wait and see. But to me, like I said, one of the reasons why I'm not a big, fan of Elon. To me, I keep saying, like, he hasn't really built anything. He just buys and acquires companies.
Yep.
No, wait a minute. I know he didn't build Tesla. Many people didn't know that. Many people didn't know.
Either.
But you gotta get the guy is a genius, bro, and he's one of the most prolific. Hell yeah!
How?
All right, I do believe like he is like textbook. Like he did the test and they're like, oh, your number's really high. Okay, I got that part. But like the allure and the archetype that is like built up around him is just like, I get it, but then I'm still just like, nah, I'm not gonna take the whole Kool-Aid. Like, I'm not drinking all of this. Like, he a dude, and he has some good situations. He was able to spin certain things around, and yeah, like some people that have the money and the push behind him, like they still letting him rock out and do what he do because he doing what they need him to do. Like, that's how I look at it. That's just
wow. This guy has accomplished so much. He's made rockets fly in the air and come down the same.
No. A team of engineers made rockets.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Okay. He's the mascot.
He put the team together. You can't do it by yourself.
Put the team together, man. It's over thousands. It's over what? A couple of hundred people, if not 1,000 plus people who work in just the rocket company.
Man, like Dr. Cole said, they kind of sound like y'all sound like haters, man.
You can call me what I want. I'm consistent with this. Bro, I really don't care about that. Like, everybody that calls me a genius, everybody that thinks he's like this.
Right, NASA couldn't do it. You got thousands of engineers and astronauts and...
NASA's been underfunded for, over a decade now.
Oh my
It don't-
There's a whole
god.
rabbit hole we can run down on the whole NASA story and why they ain't been able to do stuff. Okay, but we don't got time for that because I ain't trying to be on here that long tonight.
Yeah, exactly. He's not like, man. To me, like I said, he's a great marketer. But I call
Okay.
him that guy.
In the comments, in the comments right now in the chat room, let us know if you like. Thumbs up if you like Elon. Thumbs down if you don't. I want to know for sure. Let's finish this video and then we'll tie it up with the last article for tonight. Let's see.
Keeping Twitter safe and growing. I believe that there is a lot of work we have to do to continue making that better. Sometimes that means more thoughtful moderation. Sometimes that means making things simpler. Sometimes that means changing product incentives to be able to solve problems through products sometimes instead of policies.
During the last all hands, you said that you trust Elon Musk. The correct quote was, "We trust him." So who is we? And talking to Elon, what made you trust him?
And based on the conversation I had with him when we were excited to have him join our board, that was because as a major shareholder and an opinionated user, we wanted that voice in our boardroom so that we could learn.
Is there an updated understanding on what free speech means?
The question behind the question here, which is where might Twitter...
So I see this Twitter CMO. She's a left wing Nazi. I see. She's having a problem here.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably gonna quit. She's gonna probably quit.
I think we're all center left.
Gonna move. Sorry, go ahead, Default.
No, they were all center left. Like, I don't even say center left. I just like the guy that was talking. He was, trying to make a lot of restrictions on Twitter. So in that aspect of this deal, I think that's good as far as like being allowed to do what you're doing now, because they were really going to start hunting down accounts and limiting people, like really banning people depending on their political views and if I guess they were going their Facebook route as far as like the COVID thing and everything. But
let me correct myself. All Nazis are left. A Nazi is a left, but that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not even gonna go that route. Okay, but yeah, we'll see, man. This is interesting. I think, man, who would have thought? I mean, it just seems like we live in a simulation. Like, seriously, COVID.
Or just randomness of like, what the hell?
No, bro. Like COVID. Who would have thought 2 years of global shutdowns from a freaking virus? You know what I mean? The last 3-4 years, man, it's been crazy. Like, I feel like the Mayans got the calendar shift. We were off like 10 years. Maybe they meant 2022, not 2012. Because the stuff going on nowadays, bro, it's insane. They took Kobe from us. We had Donald Trump as a president.
Man, anything's possible, man.
Anything's a black president. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. The last article, let's just take a quick look at it. And I want to get your opinion on it. It's actually not an article, it's a video, but we can talk about the subject. Did you guys get a chance to watch this?
Yeah, I watched it.
So, what were your thoughts on? I was more intrigued with the guy from New York that was trying to make rug pulls illegal. What the heck? How do you? I mean, go ahead, Trek. Go ahead.
So the part of that that got me was he was wording it to where it would be like they would go after the devs. So not just like, okay, we're gonna hit the founder, but like, let's say for example, like in Quadri X, the Canadian joint, right? The founders dip out. Founder pretends he's dead, but the devs are still there. The CMO person is still there. Like, they will go after all of those other people. As the person who like dipped out with the money totally, is gone.
But you know what I compare that move to?
What's that?
The outrageous gun laws they have in New York. Like you're putting these gun laws in place, and it really doesn't affect anything. The gun violence in New York has been at its high since I think the 80s, because the criminal he's going to get a gun.
That's
No matter what
okay.
your law is. You're just affecting you're affecting the common good citizens, the law abiding citizens.
And that's always been my issue with how gun laws work.
Mm-hmm.
In that it's not about how do you prevent people from using guns in crimes, as far as like how do you hit the source. It's you want to be retroactive of, well, you already committed the crime, now we're going to throw this extra charge for you to be in jail longer. Like, but we're still not dealing with the source of the issue. Like, that's why I've never been a fan of how the gun laws in any of the states really work right now.
Mm-hmm. What's your take on this New York trying to ban or put they want to put a 3-year moratorium on mining because of environmental concerns?
Bullshit.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't know the mining data in New York. I don't know if a lot of people are mining in New York, basically. So I don't know how that would affect, the mining market. But it just seemed, it seemed like people that are just out of touch with the market. It seems dumb. I think the lady at the end of the video was like, how about do a study and then make your recommendations after doing the study, not
right.
just, doing a moratorium, and, basically banning it for the 2 to 3 years, whatever. And, that whole case of, going after the devs for rug pulls. And I think the most craziest thing he said was like, the person couldn't sell 10% of the supply for like 2 years or something like that. Something crazy.
Explain that one. So Trek, did you want to chime in on that part?
No, not on that part. There's something else.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Default.
Yeah, just having that recommendation. You can't sell. Like, now you're basically telling somebody they can't sell asset they hold. You can't sell 10% of the total supply if you're a dev. I mean, it's very just sound like anti-crypto people that really don't understand the market at all.
They don't understand at all. Like, it's no way you can put that much oversight over a crypto project, especially one that's decentralized or
and it's only format. It's only can be enforced in New York, so it wouldn't matter if that person's
right.
is not in New York.
Right.
Like, how would you even enforce it? It just seemed comical, honestly.
A lack of understanding, very ignorant, right?
So
go ahead, Trek.
Two things. One, and I think that in this particular scenario for what New York is talking about, it's people who are used to finance and the top-down model of, I'm a regulator, you have to listen to what I say, as well as there are certain systems and policies set up to be like the gate guard or the breaker, right? So as far as New York is concerned and what they're probably trying to deal with, and I'm gonna throw this one out kind of left, it might be that somebody is trying to work out a carbon credit deal in New York. And the reason I say that is, what was it, last month? It might have been so carbon credits, if you don't know how the carbon credit market works, Default, are you in on that?
Yeah, I understand how that works somewhat, yeah.
Okay, so that joint is a straight money grab, but it goes in lock with the whole environmental protection narrative. On the technical side, this shit is just stupid, and when you look at it from a technical side, it's a money grab. But as far as like hey, let's do a 2-3 year moratorium on mining in New York, I'm gonna beg to say somebody might be trying to work out a carbon credit deal. And
okay, that's an interesting take.
Yeah, and it's gonna take probably that long for them to set things up in New York. Because like I say, in regards to like my two Satoshis, there are things that I'm paying attention to and conversations that I'll be a part of at times And it's just like, oh, okay, I remember. Hopefully, I remember this thing like a week or like 6 months from now. Carbon credits is something that I've had pop up over the last 6 months.
Go Panama makes a good point here. This is objectively a Bitcoin vulnerability. Government can always go after the mining. The only way to do it right is off the grid.
How do you do
Is
it
that a
off the
choke?
grid?
Is that a choke point for Bitcoin's network?
Arguably, yeah, because that's the physical infrastructure. Like, unless you like, even if you're able to, like, let's say, one, you can't just throw up your own power station. There's a whole governing thing that
You can go solar or some,
bro,
right?
no. So
No.
from what I understand, as far as like if you did a solar farm, the cost of the infrastructure and not just like the panels
You would
themselves,
never break even.
it's not about necessarily the break even part. It's about what the infrastructure is for the battery storage, the storage of the stuff.
Yeah.
That part for how you run the ASICs, how you run the different type of miners that are like the specialty hardware stuff, you would go, yes, it will cost a fair amount. And arguably, depending on how you're looking at like, well, this adds to the security of the bigger network. For the folks, honestly, that I hear talking now, they don't care about security, bro. So for them, for what the mining side of the protocol and how it works and is to them, that doesn't matter as much anymore. So the cost of it is outweighed. And yeah, you have some, mining operations are being set up across the country that are like X amount Bitcoin, but I would argue come like 2025, we're gonna start to see people shifting out from that whole proof of work. Bitcoin is this, Bitcoin is the God, Bitcoin is the one. It's gonna be a number of the mining companies that are gonna shift out. And it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Sorry, I went on a side note on that one.
No, it's all good. Yeah, man. Go ahead, Default.
No, I was just going to say, as far as the point that was made, is there a vulnerability with the mining? And this is my main point why I'm not as big as on Bitcoin for the last few years, and why I've been more big on like looking at Ethereum because they're going to proof of stake. I just think it's old technology. I think it's very inefficient, and
Very much so.
It makes that network run slow. I think it was a great invention in the beginning, but I think there's other ways to run a more efficient blockchain. And I just think over time, like 2025, like let's say, I just think Ethereum or another coin will overtake Bitcoin.
Of course,
So,
it has to. I mean, just from an economic standpoint, you can do more. You can generate more GDP from running on, or how can I put this? More GDP can be generated from running on an Ethereum or any other smart contract because you can do more. You can do all these different things on those blockchains. So you can only really do one thing on Bitcoin, is that transfer wealth. From my understanding, I mean, I know they're talking about trying to have a smart layer or some. I don't. It can't work on a proof. It can't work on proof of work. It's not scalable. You can't get the throughput as far as transactions per second high enough. It's just not possible.
Okay, so this is what makes me think that there will be something that comes out this decade that will bring it up. But as I said, this decade, I ain't saying
BCH. No, we're laughing at BCH.
Oh, yo, Dr. Moda is making comments that are like sideways trolling.
No.
Bro, go up past the
Oh man, you getting pointed out, Dr. Moda.
Sideways. I ain't saying you full on trolling, but you sideways. You inching.
You good, Doc. Keep your comments coming, man. It's good for the algorithm. BCH. Go ahead though.
Right. But now on the security side of it, like, yeah, that's gonna be the thing. But what I think would end up being the changing influence is businesses. Like as you set up to be a business, a company in the space, and as the regulation comes into this thing more, X amount of folks are gonna, all right, do I want to stay as a business? But if they make these policies and these things that I have to adhere to, like I'll give you an example of something, right? Look at the what's the thing called? The cannabis industry. You could grow weed in any type of condition, bro. You can grow weed in hydroponics, which is just water. But yet, in order for you to be a manufacturer, like a production place, it's $1 million just for like the infrastructure, like the cleaning facility. I think that we'll see later on in this decade, like that's going to be part of what will influence these huge, facilities or sizable facilities to start going, all right, well, we might start having to move more towards proof of work style currencies, as well as how many are really going to hold to the Bitcoin is, the hedge. I don't know. Like, I feel like once of how regulation is going to move into the space and the way that what's the thing called? The green energy policy thing is moving, and it's not just us here in the U.S., bro. It's a global thing. X amount of these companies, they not diamond hands. They not.
It's just funny to me. The Bitcoin maximalists is so funny because I always say, where are the Alta Vista maximalists? Where are the Netscape maximalists? Like that's how they're going to look. I think.
Yeah.
Time is not going to be good to them. It just technology is just it's too fast paced, man. And like you said, I need to see what really ends up happening from a regulatory standpoint with Bitcoin. And also, I'm not convinced that from a technical standpoint, the Bitcoin is as solid as people say it. I mean, it is today. Yes, it is. It's the most secure network. We can all agree upon that. But you start getting quantum physics, not quantum physics, but quantum computing, qubits. I don't know. We don't know what it looks like in 10 years.
Exactly. Like
with the current encryption. So you can't be sure on that, man. You just can't.
And that's the other part that like gets it, like you said, like. So the whole thing of like, this is primarily a technology-driven thing that then, it's a weird back and forth between the technology allows you to do a new type of function, right? So that changes how X amount of us think about it and like what we try to do with it. And so we experiment, and at the same time we come up with newer things off of that, right? And it's not it was something, who was it? It might have been something that Reggie said to me that made me think about this as far as like, it's not just going to stand still. And I think like Andreas started talking like this probably maybe a little bit before C19 started or within C19. He started bringing that point up more about like, well, we don't know what the Bitcoin protocol is going to be like come, the end of this decade or like pushing 2019 and stuff, so into the second decade. And like the more I see what's going on in the space, bro, like I'm really starting to agree, and I'm taking the stance of what Zay says. Like I'm pro freedom tech. Like whatever's gonna work for me to allow me to
right. That's right.
Sovereignty, like that's how I'm running with this thing.
That's how I am. Yep.
Y'all don't
that's
understand.
Exactly right.
Y'all don't understand. It's going to $2 million per coin. You gotta understand that. Like none of that matters because we're going to $2 million. Like it's just crazy in this space with the price predictions.
Yeah, I saw one today. I think in one of the articles it said Kathy Wood said Bitcoin at $1 million by 2030. Yeah. How can you how do you even fix your mouth to say something like that?
So Go ahead, default, because I'm gonna.
You gonna put a year and a price? Please, you get out of here,
You
man.
sound like McAfee.
Yeah.
Like she going, what's she going to eat her breast now, or what? Like if it don't happen, like
I'm gonna eat my clit if big.
Okay. No. Yeah, he's gonna be a part of this.
We're gonna edit that out. Not. But that pretty much sums it up for this show. Trek, let them know where they can find you on Twitter or any other social media.
All right, listen, I want to throw one last thing in there. Part of why I think she says that is because she knows or has some level of inkling on the horizon. Crypto is going to be influenced like how gold is in the paper markets.
Of course, it's already there.
Not to the level that it is with the paper markets, bro.
What would you say, default? Today?
Yeah, not to the level
I say it can easily be over. It can be more manipulated.
Man, Kathy Woods right now. Anything she's saying right now doesn't look that good. I'm perplexed. I don't see. I need to see the technicals. I need to see a chart that we gotta get above 69K, and then I'll start to make those type of predictions. But as of today, I don't see it.
There's just no way you can say 2030 $1 million. You're just pulling out your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are so many things that can happen between April 2022 and 2030.
When Bitcoin can get hacked, who knows?
Bitcoin can get hacked. Whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's a bold statement. Trek, where can they hit you?
All right, yeah. So as you see, it says on the name, it takes everything: the LinkedIn, the IG, the TikTok, and all the other stuff. And I will say, Twitter is just the randomness of whatever is on my mind at the time. And LinkedIn, that's the more like written out stuff. But if you got questions, if you wanna reach out, you can always find me on one of these platforms.
And default.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter on all up in your mentions or all up in your videos. I just post mostly technical analysis. Just reposting charts, talk about the market. Yeah, just find me on there for now.
All right, sounds good. And I'm Crypto Blood. You know where I am. You're on it right now. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We out of here, people. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Make sure you go follow Default, go follow Trek with 2Ks, and go follow me and subscribe to the channel CBTV Crypto Blood on YouTube. We out of here, people. Holla!
I told you, make moves, nigga, stack up the world go round. You better get some. I don't know about you.